that was obviously a huge win in Salt Lake, and you guys did a little bit of different formation. Is that something that you felt was a good idea for that game, or something you look to use moving forward?
Well, we always make decisions based on each game as they come, and looking at the opponent. There's a lot of layers to all the decisions that we make every single game. But we felt in that game, having Jack out, Will out, looking at Salt Lake's midfield, playing with a point-up triangle, that was a factor. Looking at the two games, this game in LA, chances of getting 3 points, being aggressive coming into the game, giving us a little bit more possession, allowing us to match up a little bit with their midfield and press. Getting Milano on the field brings penetration, keeps Rodney as well to bring his fighting spirit and fighting power and defending. So looking at all those things, I mean, we don't just wake up and come up with it and then just say, yeah, let's do it. We think of it, talk about it, go through all the scenarios of why it makes sense. It's not just me, it's the staff. We all go in the war room and hash it out, figure it out. So that was the reason behind that game and why we did it. But like I said after the game, it's not me, it's all the players. They have to perform and they have to execute and buy into it. But I thought they did that, and that's why they deserve all the credit. I deserve no credit. It's all them. They're the ones inside the lines playing the game and performing. And when you lose, it's the coach's fault, always. I accept that. And when you win, it's always the players, always. And I accept that too.
Can you give us some updates on some of those injuries with Jack? And Milano came off, and Alvis looked like he was hurting as well.
Well, Alvis is out next game, so he'll be fine for Colorado. I'm confident of that, unless I hear differently today. Jack is still in a walking boot, still sore. Obviously didn't see him today, so he didn't do anything on the pitch. So we're hoping next week with Jack. Will was in partial training today, so we're hoping that he will be full out tomorrow in training. But then obviously, he's lost some fitness, and the team's in a rhythm as well. So, but we're hoping maybe he's available next week. We'll see. Depends on how he looks tomorrow. Depends on how he looks next week in training. Who else? Milano, we think will be okay, but not sure yet. Still getting that shoulder evaluated. He had a AC joint sprain, so it was very sore, which is why I had to come out of the game, and he was pretty sore after the game. Nice thing, it's a shoulder and not a leg or foot, or it's not, so maybe he can play through it. We'll see. But if it's dislocated and it's gonna put him in harm's way, or he can't perform, because you do have to use your arms in soccer to play, even though it's your arm. You got to shield all guys off, and he's got to mark. Those are things that are important. So if he can move his arm enough, and if it's not a major injury, then he'll be in. But there's a chance he's out.
Esprilla wasn't in the 18 either. Is that an injury or just how the 18 went?
It's just a decision.
Okay.
Yeah, no injury. There were some guys that earned it. A guy like Mikey Nanshoffs had a great attitude, worked really hard, and frankly played really well in training. So he earned it. A guy like Jay Anderson, those two guys. So it's just a decision like any decision I make.
If Jack is out again and Lucas is healthy, how might that same formation benefit you in LA?
I don't know. I mean, obviously LA, it's a different team. They play a different system. There are a lot of different dynamics, the size of the field. We've obviously gotten the 3 points now. The goal is to win every game, but we knew 7 points for sure would get us in. We'll still look at this game tonight, but we're going to be under the assumption that San Jose wins, which means we need a point at least versus LA to continue to control our fate. Where if If we get a point or 3 points, then now we need a point or 3 points versus Colorado, and we're definitely in no matter what happens. So we're going to keep in that mindset. We're not going to look for help. When you start looking for help with other results, you know, we did that last year, and those results didn't come. So we're not going to be in that position. We're going to go into this game just like the last game, and we're going to play to win. We're not going to play to draw. But if the time runs out and we get a draw, we'll take that. But we'll take 3 points, obviously more. That's, you know, and if we get 3 points, then now we're talking about, you know, seeding. If we get a result, 3 points versus Colorado. But we got to take it one at a time. But I think getting this 3 points in the last game means that we're in somewhat of a different situation with regards to how we approach this next game. But I think the biggest factor is LA's a different team. That's the biggest one. So again, layers. It's our team. It's our form. It's our health. It's their team, looking at what they do, and then it's coming up with a plan that we think fits the game, factoring in last game, factoring in the next game, the window, and points. What we need to do to get in the playoffs and hopefully get the highest seed possible in the playoffs.
What are the challenges? Obviously, LA presents a lot of challenges, and they're at home where they've been dominant this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think on their best day, they're the best team in the league. When they're in top form and they've got all their guys and they're clicking, they're the best team in the league. They've had some games where that's not been the case, where they've had guys out or they've maybe not been in, you know, top form. But you know, on their best day, they're the best team in the league. So you know, we can't control what they do. We know what they're going to do. We've seen what they do. It's very consistent. What they do. A few questions a little bit with Dos Santos possibly out. You know, they play Zardes up top or wide. If they play Zardes wide, then maybe Gordon. If they play Zardes up top, maybe Acidic. I mean, there's some questions there, but other than that, you know, I think there'll be no secrets. Similar to going to RSL, both ways, there'll be no secrets for us. You know, they'll know what we do for the most part, and we'll know what they do, and then it comes down to, like I said, players performing, executing, us making decisions on how we shape up in the game, where we step, where we drop, where we trap defensively, how we rotate our, you know, and move as a team, and look to open them up. And, you know, do we exploit them, you know, right, left, both? Do we play more defensive on one side, more attacking on one side? You know, those are all the little layers that go into the game, but it's going to come down to players performing. That's simple. I know Bruce is real big on that. And I agree with them 100%. It's about the players performing, and they've got some guys that if they perform, you know, are world class. And that's why as a team, when they get 11 guys performing and clicking, and they have that well-oiled machine rolling, you know, they're pretty much unstoppable. That's why I think they're the best team in the league when that happens. We're hoping that it's a game where that doesn't happen. Who knows? Maybe we get lucky.
What kind of mindset do you need to have the guys in going into this game against a team like LA?
What mindset do we need to have?
Yeah.
I mean, like, we have the same mindset we have every game to win the game. What do you mean?
I guess, I mean, when you're going into a place like LA, you know, are you thinking of it as a potential upset, or are you, you know, just saying, you know, we need to get the best out of us, or what is it that you're telling him going into this?
Win the game. We want to win the game. So in terms of psychology, I don't think I'll tell my guys it's an upset, but they know this is a very good team, LA, and yet we know we're a good team as well. We've shown that on our day that we can beat anybody. But we definitely have to have a good performance. And when you play a team like LA, I would say the margin for error in terms of not getting performances across the board is more under the microscope. But if we get our 11 guys performing individually and collectively, then we'll give them a game. But if we don't, and they do, like I said, the margin for error is much more slim. So I think in terms of my message to the group, it will be one of confidence. It will be one that's clear in terms of what we need to do. We will definitely play to win. There's different ways to play to win. You know, I think there's this assumption sometimes with with people that aren't in my position, who haven't been in the trenches, and kind of get the game. That when you play to win, you just go and attack, and when you play to draw, you just sit back. Or when you're, I mean, there's different ways to play to win. And we're a team that's shown we can win in a lot of different ways. We've used different formations. We've been very flexible. We've pressed some games. We've held a little bit more of a lower block some games. We've played on the break more some games. We've played a little bit more direct some games. We've had some games where we've battered teams with possession. So I think we're a very well-rounded team. We've got a deep team. We're tactically flexible. We've got a good mentality overall and confidence. But I think our team is very humble. I'm very humble. Believe it or not, you guys probably wouldn't ever believe that, but I'm very humble. I'm realistic with my team. I'm realistic with myself. I'm realistic with the opponent always. And I think because we have a humble team, we'll go into the game knowing what we can and can't do, and we'll respect LA. And I certainly respect Bruce. So we'll go into the game humble, and yet we won't go into the game tentative. We won't go into the game nervous, but we'll go into the game realistic, and the plan will reflect that, and I think the guys' energy will reflect that as well.
Ben Zemanski, how would you characterize his level of training at this point?
Pretty high. He looks good. He's moving well. He's fit. He did possession day for the first time as a neutral player. He hasn't been released for full contact yet. They're not ready to release him for that. They're hoping a couple weeks. I think he looks back to normal, but in terms of protecting that knee and putting him in situations where he's getting tackled and taking knocks and having to jump tackles and all that stuff, and that's a whole different level. So I think he's still at that stage yet where they're not ready in their return to play to fully release him for those type of situations.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.